Hi, welcome to PG69's channel. My good friend Irish here was talking about basically Arctic warfare. And, I was never in the army or anything like that, so I'm not claiming to be, the world's Arctic expert. But I've lived in the snow a considerable amount, and one of my favorite things to study is Arctic warfare. I kind of find it fascinating, mainly because you can get insights into living in the woods in the snow in some of the Arctic warfare stuff. And I'm kind of a prepared type of guy these days, so why not know about such things? I'm not even in the snow belt. I'm kind of the ice belt that runs through the center of the United States. That's about where I am. So take this for what it's worth, but I've spent a lot of time out in the snow. Everybody in my family and all my friends know when it snows, I'm outside. I'm outside doing something because it's awesome. I love winter camping, hiking in the snow, cross-country skiing, although I don't get to do that as much as I wish I would. All sorts of other stuff like that. And in this video, I'm going to try to address some things. First off, the first thing in Arctic warfare is the weather, because it's the first thing that's going to kill you. Usually you run down your list of, things you're going to need, and in most combat situations, the gun is probably number one. And then you have, water, food, actually probably water, heat, then food, so on and so forth down the list of things that will kill you. Well, in the Arctic, you could last a long time being shot at. You couldn't last very long at all without a coat. Okay? There's all sorts of little, tips and tricks and shit that will just keep your ass alive, like socks. The most important piece of gear you could ever own in any environment is socks. The Arctic is especially so. Really, really good boots that breathe. Or even that don't, if you're wearing the right shit. A lot of people talk about, the importance of the breathable boots and shit. Breathable boots tend to let in water. And, while, the water that you sweat is bad, the cold-ass water that comes in from the outside is even worse. So I would try to strike a balance between that. Get something that, breathes a little bit, but definitely get something that's fucking waterproof. What else? Oh, the next thing would be the type of socks. I would be wearing 2 pairs of socks. I would be wearing normal, everyday, whatever socks on the outside, and then on the inside I'd be wearing Arctic. That's hard to describe. Winter socks. They you can get them at Bass Pro or Academy or Cabela's up where you are, Irish. Basically, on the inside, they have a bunch of little loops like this of wicking material, and they just suck sweat off of your foot. If you want to prevent frostbite, have the double socks and then a good waterproof, breathable boot. I'm probably telling you stuff you already know, but that's just number one for anyone who doesn't know that already. Some of the next things that'll keep your ass alive are a good glove system. This is my base layer. They're wool gloves, little thin gloves like you get at Academy or something like that. Then there's several gloves that can be put on top of that. One of the most important ones, see if I can dig one out here. I found some. One of the most important layers is going to be, if I can unfold one, God, I had these packed away. I thought I pulled them out for the video, I'm sorry. Surgical gloves. Okay. Believe it or not, that these come in extremely handy. Basically, if you put one of these on over one of these, it keeps it dry and makes it a lot warmer. If you've ever worn these, they get hot eventually. So, it's not best to just wear them all the time, but definitely swapping in and out of them is a great idea. And this is on the cheap. I mean, you can get, bomber ass fucking alpine gloves at, some backpacking store, and you'll pay $100 for them. But the system I'm going to show you is super cheap. That's these two are the only pieces I really have on hand. But on top of that, actually, now I have one more piece. If I can get it. An outer glove on top of all of that, or a mitten. The U.S. Army issue mittens would be my preference for really, really cold environments, but for normal stuff, it's nice to have all the fingers move. And these basically protect the other glove and make the whole thing just another degree warmer. And if you want to manipulate weapons, you take these off. These are Thinsulate. I think these are like 20 bucks. They have a leather palm. That pretty much covers hands. The U.S. Army issue gauntlets would be the next step on top of this. I think they run about 30-40 bucks, and they're just killer. I've been thinking about buying a pair here recently, not because I need them, just because, I don't know, I'm a gear junkie, I guess. And I want to look cool wearing them around town. A couple of the next things that people always forget are shit like this. This is basically a small tub of Vaseline that's like lip balm. That's how you can get such a small one. I would carry at least a couple of these because you'll probably be wearing headgear too, which is going to be the next thing I talk about. But your face has at some point exposed parts. Now, if it's cold enough that you can't have exposed parts, you're going to need like ski goggles and all sorts of other stuff. But I'm talking right now as if, you aren't in like, sorry, my computer just turned off. I'm talking as if you aren't in, a truly Arctic environment. You're in like a, the extremes like we'd have here in the U.S., maybe southern Alaska, basically kind of glacier glasses and balaclava type place. Not like you need a respirator and ski goggles type place. Although if you're going to be skiing, you're going to need ski goggles, or the glacier glasses can work pretty good for that too. They aren't the best, but basically the reason you have those is snow blindness. Snow blindness is a huge killer. You can't see, you can't fight, I think is one of your famous lines on here. And it's just as true in the Arctic. I mean, snow blindness is not a fake thing. Walk out, after a big snowstorm, usually like the next day or two, it's like clear as shit, and there's like just sun beaming down everywhere. Walk out and try to like stare off into the distance for any length of time. It hurts. Polarized sunglasses are good. Polarized glacier glasses and ski goggles are better. That side light just kills you, is what I'm getting at. Hats. Hats are very important. I would try to find something something warm that still has a visor on it if you can get it, because it's really nice. Get one of those Radar O'Reilly hats, or was it the pile hat that had the brim and the big furry ear things on it? Something along those lines. It doesn't have to look good, it just has to keep you warm. Weapons. I think I got everything in there. I'm going to talk about clothing and battle rattle here in a second, but make sure, run a checklist in my head, make sure I got everything. I talked about gloves and shoes, talked about this crap. Hats. I probably could talk more about hats. Really, if you can get a Thinsulate hood with like a ski mask type thing, that's what I'm talking about. I have one in the other room. I'm not gonna go get it. They have their purpose, especially if you're wearing glacier goggles or whatever. I don't like the ones that have the individualized eye holes. I like the ones that are basically one big hole that you put your eyes through. That way you can wear shit unobstructed. What else? Oh, scarves. Scarves and What's called shimogs and stuff like that are huge in winter. A pack towel is huge because we'll get to it here in a minute when we talk about clothing, but it's just huge. As far as weapons go, don't use this. This shit is your enemy when it comes to Arctic warfare. What you really want for weapons, lube-wise, is ideally run your gun dry. Okay? But, in my opinion, that's not really possible. I mean, you hear people say that all the time, but your gun, to function properly, is probably going to need some lubrication. Grease is not your friend in cold weather, because it's already kind of solid anyway. You want something like this, mixed 50-50 with gasoline. Okay? I know that sounds weird, but gasoline has a much, much lower freezing temperature than this shit. This will freeze. A lot of Germans got killed in World War II because they were using Ballistol, the German army version of it. And it was freezing. And the Russians were using, I think it was axle grease mixed 50-50 with gasoline, and their guns didn't freeze. Other shit to talk about. Oh. This is a barrel cover plug. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a cap that goes on into your gun. In other environments, this is a nice idea. In the Arctic, it is a necessary idea. I'd carry at least 2 of these, because there's a chance you might shoot out one of them, so carry a second one just in case, but I would definitely try to remove that before I shot. It's going to affect your bullet's flight path. You're going to lose your cap. It's just a bad day. This is a AR, by the way, that we're looking at. Optics-wise, on guns, pretty much red dots, or what I prefer generally. I would definitely, let me take this off so we can get a better look at it. I would definitely not run an EOTech, because they do not have covers or the capability to take covers. If you notice here, my aim point does not have covers on it. I'm not running heavy snow. If I was running heavy snow, I'd put the covers on. The reason they're not on now is because they have a tendency... Damn, this thing's on. I usually don't leave mine on, but you can leave these on for years. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, they have a tendency to break and shit and fail you at the worst possible moment. So I don't run them most of the time, but you can run them in the snow, and they're going to be better than constantly cleaning snow out of the lens of your optic. If you're going to run a scope-type scope, there are those bikini-style covers with clear ends on either side. And those are great in the snow. They keep it out of the lens. You can still shoot with the gun with it on, which is awesome. See what else. If you're going to run mittens, I would remove the trigger guard entirely. It's just my opinion. Lots of people probably bitch about that. This one has the extended trigger guard, which only sucks mildly less. Like I said, I would ditch that thing entirely if I were running in the snow. What else? Oh, I would also probably run penetrator ammo. Mainly because whoever you're going up against is going to be bundled up too, and they could have armor hidden underneath that shit. So I'd probably run green tip ammo in my 223s and 5.56, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. You could probably still run 55 grain. It's just, in my own opinion and the way I think, in an Arctic environment, penetration is awesome. Handguns are pretty much fucking useless in Arctic environments. I mean, I just tuck it away in my pack maybe. I definitely wouldn't run a leg rig. Maybe some sort of flap holster, because you aren't going to be accessing that thing fast anyway. Gloves pretty much take handguns out of the equation, at least the type of gloves I'm talking about. Could you shed your glove layers and pull out the handgun wearing this type of shit? Yeah, you could. Or you could just reload your rifle. I mean, there's no reason that you'd ever need to use a handgun, in my opinion, in an Arctic environment. I would definitely carry it. It just wouldn't be, on a drop leg thing, in your way while you're hiking and, cross country skiing and all that bullshit. Let's see. That pretty much covers most of the weapons. I may have forgot a couple of things. In snow, you can see a lot further because there's a lot of underbrush taken away. So having more guys with semi-automatic precision 308 rifles would probably be a good idea on some sort of patrol. Or just preparing to have longer engagements. There's going to be plenty of close-up stuff, especially in an alpine environment, because the trees will block them out. But if you're talking pure tundra, you can see for fucking ever. Which brings us to clothing. Everybody I know who does this sort of shit goes out and buys snow camo. That's retarded. Don't buy snow camo. Wear whatever it is you normally wear and adapt it to the cold. And what I mean by that is go to Walmart, buy 2 sets of white linen sheets and make yourself a snowsuit. Okay, you just measure it out, make yourself a set of trousers with a drawstring that slip over everything you got on, and make yourself a big ass white cover parka thing with a big pocket in the front. The pocket in the front is just kind of handy. You know the type of pocket I'm talking about, like on a hoodie, where it's just one big kind of flow-through pocket. With drawstrings at the waist and a drawstring on each wrist that keeps snow out and shit like that. And basically you wear whatever you're going to wear, and you throw these on as your last layer, and then you put your battle rattle and your pack over it. And the battle rattle and the pack kind of break up your outline. But if you're in a pure white environment, I'd put it on over the battle rattle, and then put the pack on, and then put a white pack cover on. Okay, if you're in just a pure whiteout situation, that would be my preference. Now, under that, and the reason that's your top layer is because, even, if you're really hauling ass and you're stripped off all your other layers, it gives you kind of a light layer just to keep the wind and crap off of you. But the other layers you're going to carry, in my opinion, okay, this is kind of one of those things, I would carry all of these layers, but I would not ever wear them all, probably. And I definitely would not wear all of these while I'm moving. But these would be long underwear, sweats, BDUs. And then on top of that, I would protect the core more than the legs. But the legs are already good because they have all those layers on. And like I said, I wouldn't wear all of that at once, but I would definitely bring them all. On top of that, you'd have a fleece jacket, a good winter coat, and then like a Gore-Tex or nylon, what's that thing called? Shell. Like a wind rain shell. And then whatever else you're going to wear. Now you can add or remove layers from that as you need to, and if you're really like, hauling ass, I would definitely shed off most of that and throw it into your pack. But, whatever you got left, you throw on your white pants and your white top, and you're good to go. Other things in clothing would definitely be, I would definitely bring at least 2 sets of, not everything, but like I'd bring long underwear and sweatpants. I'd bring 2 sets of BDUs. I would bring, 2 polar fleece jackets, maybe 1 heavy winter jacket, and maybe 1 shell. But you see, there's kind of like, you could wear the sweats, or you could wear the long underwear. Well, you have different options, whatever. The pack towel becomes important if you do get too hot. You take everything off, okay? Everything. Let it fucking air out and get all the steam out of it. Dry your body off, then start putting on layers until you're warm again. Okay, it's much better than the alternative. I'm going to run out of time here in a minute, so I've got to move fast. Let's see. Talked about guns, clothes, all the protective gear. Okay, transportation. Snowshoes and skis are going to be your best friend. Skis are really the difference between combat effective troops and not combat effective troops, because you can get from place to place quickly. Snowshoes are a pain in the ass, and they are slow, just to be honest with you. They are better than walking in the snow, but compared to skiing, you are just fucking slow as shit. I would carry skis and snowshoes, and I'm not talking about like downhill skiing here, I'm talking cross country. You know, you use the poles to propel yourself forward. And that's about it, transportation-wise. I mean, snowmobiles, yeah, but those are noisy and use gasoline and have just tons of drawbacks. Dog sleds are laughable. I'm sorry, Irish. Dogs are even worse than having to ski. Unless you have, a bunch of fighting dogs that can also pull sleds, then that might have its advantages. But those don't exist, so... other things to be concerned about would maybe be the increased visibility is a problem. And that's why, I would pay some attention to my camo. I wouldn't just buy some off-the-rack store-bought camo. Like I said, I'd take those sheets and kind of make my own. And depending on, the situation, you can, rub some crap on them, break up your outline if it's like a mixed snow environment. And then go down to the creek and wash it off. Pick something that'll actually wash out, though. For further reading on this subject... Oh, yeah, before I do that. Medical. Medical is fucking huge. You want hot hands, heat in general, and stuff for treating frostbite. Okay? I'm not a medical person, so I don't know exactly what all that would be. I have some good guesses, but since I'm not a medical person, I'm not going to add to that discussion. But first aid kits specializing in winter things are huge. Hot hands, heater packs, stuff to remove fingers and toes should they become so frostbitten that is required. That's kind of disgusting, but the fact is you don't want fucking gangrene. So some antibiotics maybe would be a good idea too, etc., etc. Okay, I'm not sure when this camera is going to cut out, but it should be doing it here in a minute. But for further reading on this, I recommend this book. This is the SAS Combat Handbook by John E. Lewis. It has an extensive section on Arctic warfare. It's probably one of the better ones I've read. Let me see if I can get you the full thing. Okay, out of this huge ass book, this whole section here is just on fighting in the snow. Okay, it talks about desert environments, it talks about wilderness survival. This book has a lot of useful stuff in it. Free you up here. It's a great book. Okay, so I would definitely go try to find this. You can probably find it online. I didn't look before I filmed this. And one last topic would be battle rattle. You might pick different battle rattle for a snowy environment. I'd probably still run the same chest rig I run, but something old and proven like under that AK chest rig. There's a standard M56 field gear setup, and the chest rig, like, that's good too. I mean, I don't have anything against the Tricom chest rig, but I would be tempted to run something along the lines of that belt with suspenders system, just because I think it might work better for the Arctic, at least better than the chest rig. Anyway, if you have any specific questions, I know a lot of crap about this stuff. Like I said, I've been researching this for years. This is just kind of a small snippet on Arctic warfare in general and some of the concerns. I don't know if I stressed socks enough to you guys. I would definitely bring lots and lots of socks. I'm talking like, take how many socks that you think you'll need and then double or triple it. If you have 3 pairs per day that you expect to be out there, that's probably approaching good. More would be better. Just carry as many as you can, because you're not going to be able to dry shit really. At least not as well as just pulling fresh socks, and nothing will make you feel better than having fresh socks. So I'm going to leave you with that thought that pretty much socks are the key thing to winter survival, in my opinion. Socks and gloves is where it's at, guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to thumbs up the video, and I'm going to borrow your line, Irish. Was it Watch Your Six? I'll see you later.